We are starting the thematic session 1. That's all about developing and enabling instruments and environment for collective energy actions. So first up, I would like to give the word again to Michael Stöhr, who will present one of the key results of our ALPGRIDS project, the ALPGRIDS proposal for an Alpine microgrid model. Michael, the floor is yours again.
So what we are talking about, we're talking about microgrids. We talk about local energy, not only local electricity, local energy. We talk about grid-bound use of energy by electricity, heat, cold, or fuels. We talk about involving a range of local stakeholders, and the microgrid might be connected to an upstream grid, or it might be not. We talk about microgrids because they have a number of potential benefits. So using local available renewable energy sources, most cases they are renewable, microgrids can improve the local energy self-sufficiency. Very important in a time when we talk about potential military conflicts. Energy efficiency. It's more efficient to exchange energy on a small scale than to transport it over hundreds and thousands of kilometers. Talk about sustainability, resilience in case of natural hazards or in the case of a military attack. And about cost effectiveness. Of the energy supply for municipalities, communities of citizens, farmers, small enterprises, and other players at a local scale. They have a benefit on the awareness for energy. People think about energy, they have an idea for what it is, their own consumption, where it comes from, which consequences the use has, and so on, and which social implications the form of energy use has. And then, especially in rural, mountainous, remote locations with missing or weak connections to upstream grids, or expensive connections to the upstream grids, or in areas particularly vulnerable to natural hazards whose frequency and severity may increase with anthropogenic climate change. So we already have a number of natural hazards, and the number and the intensity will definitely increase with climate change because we didn't stop climate change soon enough. So it's ongoing now. All we can do is to limit its evolution, but not to avoid it anymore. So in this situation, microgrids are a very important tool to ensure energy security and resilience in local areas, and particularly in vulnerable areas. What is specific for the Alpine space? You can have a microgrid anywhere, but what is specific for the Alpine space? The potential benefits of the microgrids can be reaped especially in rural, mountainous, remote locations. With missing or weak connections to upstream grids, that means, it says either it's located locally because this is not possible, or too expensive to install an upstream grid, okay, so I'm sorry, so it's just some repetition of what I said before. So the energy microgrids are not necessarily energy communities, but they are connected to energy communities, and the notion of energy communities now is dominated by 2 European directives, which have this notion included and define citizen energy communities on one side in the directive on the internal market for electricity directives, and renewable energy communities in another directive on the promotion of the use of energy from renewable sources. So there are 2 definitions which exist at European scale for energy communities, and they differ by the governance, by the proximity of generation. So if you have what is more a microgrid, which is local, then it's rather a renewable energy community with the proximity of generation. Then they differ by the energy vectors, electricity only or all sources of renewables. So again, our pilots are closer to renewable energy communities because all sources of, or all vectors of energy are considered. Citizen energy communities are technology neutral, renewable energy communities are 100% renewable. So in our cases, we have not 100% renewable energy sources. So it's rather close to citizen energy community. So whatever time we talk about a microgrid, then we have to consider these two definitions of energy communities in mind, because they determine the organizational form of microgrids. So now the definition which we propose for stakeholders, players, decision makers in the Alpine space for an Alpine microgrid model. There are technical parts in the definition and the organizational parts. Technical parts first. We say a microgrid is a grid or an interconnected combination of different grids with clearly defined local boundaries for the exchange and distribution of either alternating current electricity or direct current electricity, or heat or cold or gases like hydrogen or methane from biogas installations, for instance, or liquids, which could be mixtures of higher hydrocarbons such as kerosene. They potentially include interconnecting devices like energy converters, electric transformers, heat pumps, combined heat and power plants fueled with grid-bound energy carriers, and/or devices producing gases or liquid energy carriers such as electrolyzers, methane, or ammonia synthesis plants or Fischer-Tropsch plants. So the Fischer-Tropsch plants can produce a mixture of higher hydrocarbons such as kerosene, for instance. Further technical points in the definitions. The microgrids connect several devices generating, using, or storing usable energy or energy carriers. They connect these devices and they can include them, both as possible. In microgrids, there are controllable devices, generation units, flexible load, and storages. Might be controllable, which can be controlled as a single entity, whereby this controllable device might comprise all or part of the generation units, flexible loads, and storages in the territory. So everything needs to be controlled as a single unit. But the controllable devices might be part of all the devices connected to the microgrid, or they might comprise all devices. They might be operated temporarily or constantly disconnected from the respective upstream grid in islanding mode. Might be not. The organizational parts of the definition take a little bit into account what has been developed by the European Union on energy communities in the two directives. So microgrids are such that the connected devices are operated by legal persons, natural or legal persons acting as producers, consumers, prosumers, or optionally storage operators on the same territory, whereby these legal persons or natural persons might comprise all or part of the producers, consumers, prosumers, and storage operators in this territory. So it means if you want to set up a microgrid, that you need to convince the people living in territory to join it. It's not necessary that everybody joins. It's left free to everybody. But if only a part of the people join, then it's still a microgrid. Then a microgrid might be organized by a single entity, which might be a local energy community complying partially or fully with the definitions of citizen energy communities or renewable energy communities. So it means the microgrid might also be an energy community in line with one of the two definitions, or partially in line with one of the two definitions.
Michael, 2 more minutes, please.
Okay. Or it might be an organization such as a municipal electric utility, which involves customers actively in the organization of the microgrid. The second point is important because not all member countries of the European Union have transposed the European directive into national law in the spirit of the two directives. And in such a situation, it is always possible, as it has been possible for the last 30 years, that a local municipality which wants to promote involvement of customers, yeah, which wants to promote renewables, which wants to set up something like a microgrid, yeah, can do it. This has always happened, yeah, for 30 years, yeah. And then we say, okay, if such advanced municipal utility wants to do something and sets up something like a microgrid, it is also a microgrid, even if it's not an energy community partially or fully in line with one of the two directive definitions. Thank you for your attention.
Brilliant. I think the 2-minute warning was absolutely for nothing. but thanks anyway. Thank you, Michael, for the presentation. So are there any questions regarding the microgrid Alpine space model? Okay, it seems, Michael, you have... oh, well, we have a raised hand. Yes, we have a raised hand. I just need to check out. Simon Schramm, there you go.
Yes. So I just wanted to try if the question also works. I have a question regarding the microgrid. So you mentioned not everyone has to participate in the microgrid. How does that then work with, for example, the measurement of generation consumption? I assume you have a grid and only part of it, so a grid using also the public infrastructure. How do you then separate customers that don't want to participate from those who participate in which part of the energy is used from them, which is coming from the public grid and so on? Is this also included in this in your microgrid model?
Oh, because there are too many possibilities. Yeah. Imagine you have a situation like in Mosach. Yeah. Then you have a heat grid, and then you can say the participants, those who are connected to the heat grid, they form a microgrid. It's a microgrid. Yeah, some sort of an energy community. Yeah. And then there are other households beside, and they are still fueled by natural gas or by wood or whatever. So in Alpine space, it might be possible as a heat grid, but somebody decides not to connect to the heat grid and then want to have a wood boiler. Yeah, and it works and it's still resilient and everything, but then this is not included. This is one example. In the case of electricity, it's more complicated.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay, then thank you. Since there are no more questions, we will come to the next part. And thank you, Simon Schramm, for breaking the ice and asking a question. So you can see, everybody, it is possible to ask questions. Don't be shy. We're here to answer your questions.